But you are a singer-songwriter. Is that
Yeah.
how I can say
Yeah,
that?
that's correct. Yeah, you can call it that. I always feel like there's a thing about like calling yourself a singer-songwriter, because a lot of people would like imagine someone with like a hat and a feather on, and like and that plays emotional songs on his guitar. Which is awesome, by the way. But that's just a general perspective. I think I think you could consider it more as a top liner. So top lining is whenever a DJ or an act asks for like vocals or lyrics on an instrumental that they made. Basically, a vocalist or a top liner, they write a song on top of the instrumental, record it, and then hopefully like deliver the final product that the that the artist is asking for. But it varies. Like I kind of write in any kind of genre. I do have to say that dance EDM is probably the biggest market that I work in. But I also love to expand my horizon a bit and go into like K-pop and normal pop and
K-pop.
Yeah, K-pop.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. And sometimes also like Dutch pop music. And I try to do as much as possible to make it as fun as possible.
Mhm.
Because I feel like if you're only focusing on one thing, which could work for a lot of people, in my experience, it's nice to have a little bit of like a this and that, to make it more fun and make it feel less like work,
Yeah, and I feel like we've known each other for a few years, but that's what I also see if I follow you on social, but also know you in real life. You do so much, like you do so many sessions and so many in different places, and so that seems very fun. Like you see a lot of new places, and,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
we go into it a little bit later on your coming travel schedule, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But also like that must be like it seems like also a lot of work for not as much return as you would expect, or how do I because there's a lot of I can imagine you write maybe 100 songs and out of that 10 get picked, or how does that exactly?
Well, if you're lucky, yeah. Well, really? It depends on your abilities and your skills, and obviously also I think status has something to do with it as well. Like if you had songs with like bigger names, then well, there's a big chance that you will sell your vocals easier, or your top lines basically. But I think what is the most challenging about being a songwriter is the difference between being a songwriter and a DJ, for example. A DJ kind of has the same situation. They make a lot of music and they hope like their songs get signed to a label and they can, show the world what they did. But they also have gigs. They also have like shows they perform on and earn money on. Whereas a singer-songwriter basically writes, like you say, like 100 songs, and you're lucky if you can sell 10 of them if if you did the right thing. But if you don't have like an artist project for yourself, it's very hard to get like gigs, because not every DJ is interested in like live performances during their gigs. That's not really a common thing. So that makes it also like very hard to describe to people like what I do for a living. I mostly like I explain everything, how the way I earn the money and the way I my weeks are on a daily basis and those kind of things. But always when I have explained the whole thing, they will ask the same question. Yeah, but okay, but that sounds fun. But what is your real job?
Yeah, what do you actually do? Like,
and that's the most like challenging part about being a songwriter. It's super fun because I get to meet like new people. I get to make awesome songs with super talented people, which I'm very like grateful for. But it's also very challenging, and that's why like I've been doing this for like 9 years now. And in the beginning, it's like very hard work. It's a lot of investing of money, time, effort, and not getting a lot from that back.
Yeah.
And it takes a while before you really start to develop that kind of, like structure of flow.
How long did it take you? Is it your full-time thing now, right?
Yeah, it's full-time now.
So how long did it take you from 9 years ago until which point was it like your full-time thing?
I think I started doing this full-time, I think about 2.5 years ago, so not that long to be honest. So I up till that point I always had like side jobs, and I did like a bunch of things on the side to get my my rent, my monthly rent together to pay for everything, and just like my daily things I would spend it on. And it took a while before that really got off the ground, and I was able to really be able to provide for myself.
And talking about the income stream, because what is the income stream for a singer-songwriter? What does it exist out of?
I think it's basically three things. So you have vocal fees. So a vocal fee means it's kind of like an upfront fee. You can also, but that's a different story, have an advance on that fee. So you would, let's say you get 2,000 euros for a vocal. Then they could sometimes also say like, hey, we want to make it half advance. So the first 1,000 you get immediately, you don't have to pay it back through royalties or whatever. Yeah. And then the other 1,000 is basically an advance that you have to earn through your royalties revenue. Yeah. And then so that comes to the next one. It's the royalties. Like you've got the master royalties and you've got the publishing royalties. Basically, a singer-songwriter doesn't, like, except for when you are a vocalist as well, you wrote the song and you sing the song, you perform the song on the track, you are able to get masters. Yeah. But it's not really that common yet. I feel like it needs to grow a little bit more, to be honest. So that's one way. And then you have the publishing splits. Yeah. And that's basically your the lyrics that you wrote, your like how do you call it, your intellectual property. Yeah. So it's three ways. The best way to earn in the beginning are the vocal fees, because they are just upfront and you can just pay your monthly
cash in hand.
To pay your rent. You basically have and then for the rest you basically have to wait, because it will come like after a few months, maybe sometimes years, depends on which country you like released your song in. But that's basically the three ways that I earn my money through music. Yeah.
It's kind of similar to music producers.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of similarities, but like you said, as a music producer, it's easier to sell yourself as a DJ. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as a singer, it's like, there's MCs, but it's a whole different thing, because it's like hyping up a crowd. It's not really performing a song. So yeah, but that's why I do see like how much you do and for the return. And then it's so awesome to see like when you have huge success, like a big collab with Jay Hardway.
yes, like no other, guys. Stream it on all platforms.
No, but you had recently a song with Martin Garrix. Yeah. And I think it's really cool and I think it's also like because I've been following you then for a few years, and then seeing that big of a collab, it's like, wow, that's recognition for all those years. Yeah. Does it feel like that as well?
Definitely. I can definitely say that I've come, like I've like a few times in my career, I've come to the point where I thought, this is not working. This is just not working out, because I'm investing so much money, so much time, so much of everything to be able to make a living out of what I love to do, and ever since those things started to happen, it felt like, oh wait, I can actually do this. I can actually pull this off, and it's a crown on your work. And I'm convinced that I'm not there yet. I will always say that, because I'm never fully satisfied. I think every creative kind of has that part in them where they just they always want something better, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because you tend to like lose track of what you have already established in over the years. But it's definitely something that puts a crown on the work. Yeah,
it's one of those things where I always have struggled, where I want more, but what do I want more of? Yeah. And that's where then you start listening to the wrong people sometimes, and like, oh, you want more of this, more of that, more money, but you have to figure out for yourself, what do you want more of? Because I do think as humans, it's good to always want to reinvent yourself, or like keep pushing, but it's not always good to strive for more money, or but it's interesting.
It shouldn't be the fundament of everything.
It could be, but for me it doesn't work. So you have to really figure out for yourself what is your more, and not rely on what your manager says. Or